Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here. I talked to the chief earlier this week and just felt like, this would be an important time for me to address you all just because of what we've experienced and the acuity of what we've experienced as a community over the last few weeks. We've really seen, as the weather has come out and a number of different incidents where we have just had this spate of violence in our community, and specifically gun violence. And in the midst of a moment where we are feeling a lot of that, seeing a lot of that, I just want to acknowledge what that feels like to us as a community, that we stand with and hurt for the families who are impacted by this. We know that this is continuing to cause trauma for our residents, our families, and our community as a whole. I think it's also important to put things in context, and I realize that while it has felt really significant and acute in the last few weeks, our data year to date actually looks slightly better than it did the year before, and certainly better than it has in years past. And so it's important for us to not to panic as a community or to make more of it than it is, but also to take very seriously that even one life lost is too many. And so I think for us, this is a moment to acknowledge the pain that our community is feeling, to share that we too are heartbroken by the violence that is happening in our community, and particularly in our Black families. We are seeing the disproportionate impact of this violence happen in our Black community, and so it's important for us to give voice to that. I can't say enough good things about the work that the chief and Richmond Police Department and so many of our community partners have done to stand in there, to use technology, to use new strategies, and also to use relationships to actually help come alongside families that are involved and to support them. And we want to continue doing that work. I have no doubt that the chief will continue to lead a very thoughtful, data-driven, and sensitive to the community disease approach to how we are addressing this issue in our community. But it is also important to say that the solutions here are not solely to be carried by law enforcement and by our police department, right? There's a lot of work that needs to happen that we can drive more effectively on the prevention side of the house. We have a lot of funded entities, a lot of nonprofits that are engaging at different points. I will say, in the 3 months I've been sitting in this job, I've kind of been astounded by the amount of efforts going in different directions, trying to address violence, youth violence, gun violence. But what feels like a missing piece is the fact that there has not been an effective coordinated effort to bring those together around our highest risk individuals. And so one of the things that I am announcing today and that we will work out in the coming weeks is that we will be bringing the Office of Gun Violence Prevention into the mayor's office. And the idea behind this is having a driver of this in the mayor's office who has a direct connection to me and the authority across all of our city agencies and our nonprofit partners to really do that hard coordinating work and to make sure that all of those different funded efforts and entities are really wrapping around folks who are at highest risk, whether those are youth who have been engaged in a particular event, whether they are victims of shootings or stabbings, whether they've been youth, young adults, whoever who have been involved in our criminal justice system. We need to do a better job of actually building a relationship and wrapping around with our various efforts. And so that will be the primary effort of this Office of Gun Violence Prevention coming out of the mayor's office. More details to come in the coming weeks. But you can imagine, there's a lot of different levers that we've got to pull, right? There's already a lot of community organizations that work on this, advocates, victim support services, legal, state, and federal partners in the work. And so the other role that this office will play, in addition to the coordinating and wraparound services around our highest risk individuals, is really helping to kind of coach and quarterback the coordination of all of those different entities and to align them around key performance indicators, right? We need to be data-driven. The chief and the police department are very data-driven in the work that they do. The rest of us need to be as well. And so that's part of what this Office of Gun Violence Prevention will do. Will drive us around a set of data and metrics that connect directly to people, right, to the residents of the city who those numbers represent. So happy to take a couple of questions on that, and then I'll allow you to get on with the rest of this press conference. But any questions as it relates to that?
When do you foresee this starting, the office?
Yeah, thanks for the question. The question is, when do I foresee this starting? Well, we have found funding, and we'll move a position in the office shortly. I'm in the initial process of just taking candidates and making sure that I've clarified what the role scope will be and how many resources will be there. But I would guess by next month we should have somebody sitting in the role.
Is it just one staff member, or are you looking at like a team?
Yeah, is it one staff member or is it a team? So we do have other funded folks in across city government who work on these efforts. So right now I'm looking at one staff member who will sit in the mayor's office, and then we'll reevaluate as we go on, right? Either that person will have direct authority over folks in Department of Justice Services and Social Services and other entities as an example, but if we need to put more staff and support behind it and we can find funding streams to do that, we will. But right now, just one person.
Is this someone that's already working in the city of Richmond, or is this an open search?
Open search, we don't have anybody sitting in the role, and so I'm starting to look at who are potential candidates, because I do think part of it is somebody who brings credibility in the space, who sort of understands the dynamics both on the law enforcement side, but more importantly on the prevention side, right? And so I want to make sure that we have somebody who understands that landscape and ideally has existing relationships and knowledge of the ecosystem that already exists in the Richmond region. But I don't have a specific person in mind, and happy to, I'm looking at different candidates, and we'll do those interviews over the course of the next month. All right, thank you all so much.